delicious 3 Twins sea salted caramel ice cream, or dairy dessert, whatever. Oh no, this isn't even this isn't even that. This is actual ice cream, and it is so good, and it's organic. Delicious. I put organic pecans in it that I bought from Sun Food Company. What else did I get? Oh, late July. Remember I went to the store. Roommate took me to the store. Late July sweet potato chips with organic Horizon brand organic cream cheese. I also bought a free Fair Exchange chocolate mint candy bar, but I only ate a little bit of that. I also had ice cream that I purchased 2 nights ago when we went to the store. 2 different ice creams that I got. Stonyfield organic. I had some of that. So, needless to say, I picked out today. But that's okay because I'll cool it tomorrow. The worst that can happen one day of pigging out, you know what I mean, is gain a couple of pounds. A lot of times it's not even real pounds, it's water weight pounds, you know, but even my pigging out wasn't like really, really damaging. Because I had the ice cream and I didn't even eat breakfast this morning. I had ice cream from Friday with some little bit of cereal from Sun Food in it, and I pigged out, but I didn't really pig out the way someone would, you know, think of pigging out. To me, it was pigging out enough. I just felt like doing it. Felt like doing it. Watched the 2nd episode of Believe. Most shows don't last. I can't say that I absolutely love this show. I'm watching it for the hell of it. Because just to escape, I guess. It's like I watched The Voice with him. We watched all the initial rounds, the blind auditions, and now it's going to be the battle rounds. Probably watch that too. Just for something different from being in here all the time, you know. I periodically start spontaneously, like helplessly, not thinking about it, you know, just like moaning, like when I think about my mother. can't I've been good. I can only be good for so long, It's probably why I decided to drink last night. Like I said, I would never go back to what I was doing before. I was on the fast track to death, okay? What I was doing before I met Donald. Going to clubs by myself, picking up strangers, etc. for years. But I still need something. Donald wrote on my Alicia's World guest message board something along the lines of, and it's still true. It's always been true. Alicia is attached to this life by a very thin thread and exists for the ultimate thrill. Somebody wrote, that might be verbatim actually, let this thing with my mother break me, because if it breaks me, what's the point? There's no one damn thing I can do. All the things I could do if I had money. Even if there was no Marion in the picture, if my mom had changed things, if I had access to my mom's money. There's all kinds of things you can do for someone who's mentally ill to have them have less stress. If you have money, you can have them in a less stressful hospital environment. You can try out alternative therapies while still giving them the regular psych meds. Because even in the alternative world, they never say you should just go off your psych meds cold turkey or anything like that. They don't ever say that. But you can reduce stuff. You can try out other things. You can have stress. But I am totally powerless. Not only am I powerless to help my mother at all, because she's telling me it's the hospital, being in there is driving her crazier, and I believe it. Last 2 weeks ago from that yesterday, that staff member said, you guys need to set up a family meeting. When I was talking about, I believe my mom has pre-dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, maybe a little bit, and then that's not even being looked at, because her mental illness is overshadowing everything and they're not going to look even into anything else. I said there isn't going to be any, quote unquote, there's going to be any, quote, family meeting, unquote. It's just Marion. I'm shit in the eyes of the law. Yesterday, same staff member, I thought it was her. I'm like, are you the same woman I took? She's a younger woman. She's not like an older woman. She's younger than me, definitely. She's probably in her 20s. I said, are you the woman I talked with 2 Saturdays ago? And she said, yeah, I am. I said, you remember me? She's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. And then I gave her the update. I said, my mom's lost her mind completely. What happened 4 days ago? I was talking to her. She was talking about getting out. She sounded fine over the phone. What's going on? She's like, I don't know. This was very recent. It was very strange. I'm like, yeah, my aunt called her yesterday, blah, 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 and yelled at her. And we don't even know what she said to her over the phone, but I know she was bad-mouthing me and didn't call to. And my mom, is terrified she's going to be committed. No. But I also said, and again, she said something to me like, well, you need to talk to your mom's doctors and see what's going on with your mother. She's not getting it. I know you get it. I'm shit in the eyes of the law. I am not even allowed to know my mother's condition, what's going on with her, if she's moved somewhere else, if she takes a turn for the worse, if she dies. I'm not allowed to know anything. Not allowed to know anything. Because my mom, I could never get through to her the dangers of it. She wanted to believe her sister, Mary. She wanted to believe Mary loved her, would never hurt her, would never hurt. Everyone was just naive and manipulated. And then the other aunt was dying of cancer for a year and a half, and just got worse. And my mom was all caught up in that. And for years, I tried to get my mom to see that this could happen. I knew about it in 2010 when Mary did it to me. I've lived in fear of this happening. But I couldn't be shackled by Marion anymore. It was killing me. It was killing me being shackled by Marion. I'm going to bow down to her. So now she knows the truth, and now she'll do everything in her power to separate me from my mother permanently. It's kind of amusing in a sick way when a staff member will say, because to her it's like, well, talk to your mom's doctor, see what's going on. Because I said, they're over, she's on too much medication, what's going on with her, what happened? Talk to her doctors. I can't. I'm not allowed to know anything. Nothing. I'm shit in the eyes of the law when it comes to my own mother. And I don't have Marion's millions. Not that she has millions, but I don't have her money. I can't get a lawyer and fight this. But I love her, so while I'm busy not being able to help her at all, not being able to know a damn thing that's going on with her, and nothing. But knowing what Marion is doing to her, so I'm powerless to help her, but I still am in contact with her, so I have to I didn't leave yesterday. I had traveled nearly 3 hours to get there, and I had a 3-hour, I would be traveling 3 hours back. I wasn't going to leave. She snapped within 10 minutes that I got there, and it had nothing to do with me. It had to do with, she's miserable in there. This guy's made her cry, said she looked old, and now she says he bothers her all the time. He probably does. He probably gets a kick out of it. They're all mentally ill in there. What do you want? But maybe she hasn't experienced this before. Who knows? She's terrified she's going to be committed, and you think about it, she's getting older and older, and so being in the mental hospital now when you're approaching 70 is not the same as it was when you were in your 30s or 40s. You know, it's different. And I don't know. I remember that guy she met this past summer. She was actually happy in that mental hospital. She's miserable in this one. She was happy in that one. She had friends, and she met that guy, and just as an aside, he knows she's in there. He didn't call me, even though I reached out to him. He didn't call me, and he's not calling her. But for 2.5 hours, just about, no, actually I stayed a little longer than I should have, and I didn't even, it was 2.5 hours. He came in almost immediately, but God, when the woman just wanted to get water, and then these patients are talking to me, she's like, you do this to me, and they look at me, they're like, I didn't do anything to her. I'm like, I know, go away, please leave me alone. Do you understand? I got makeup at CVS too, organic, physician's formula, cream makeup. I looked in the mirror afterwards. I guess it didn't like look horrible like maybe a normal base would have. Because I've cried before when I used to wear prescriptions, whatever that was. I used to get it. Went out of business, prescriptives or whatever it was. And I cried before, and it was all smeared, but this wasn't smeared, but I was bawling the entire time. I didn't want to talk to the patients. I don't need them to tell me what I already know, that my mother's crazy. They're like, they look at me, and they're like, I don't do anything to her. I know you don't. You probably don't. I'm sure you don't. Of course you have a right to get water. My mom had no idea that they had spring water. She told me over the phone, I found out they have spring water. Well, I saw where it was. She just had never looked for it. Nobody told me. Well, Mom, you didn't ask me. She didn't know. So now she thinks it's her secret thing. So we're in there, and the woman comes in to get water. What are you doing? I'm getting water. No, that's my water. You weren't supposed to know. You were supposed to start crying. You weren't supposed to know. See, Laura, you gotta yell at them. They're after me, and the gods are, they're working through them. They want me dead, Laura. They want me dead. If you don't get me out of here, Laura, I'm gonna be dead. You're never gonna see me again. I started singing under my breath. There's a place for time and place for us. Take my hand and I'll take you there. Take my hand. I started just trying to protect myself, just crying out to, a universe, a God, whatever has never heard me, like my poem for now. All that talent, I never could do a damn praying to a God that has never hurt me, praying for love to come and save me, knowing all the time I'm just wasting my time, I'm just losing my mom. No one's going to care that much, dear loved one, so out of touch with reality. I'll just be lonely, I'll just be lonely, I'll just be lonely. I can barely breathe most of the time, and my smile is not really mine. If I smile enough, will you give me the love that might keep me sane in this torturous game where nothing is ever enough? Any of you who are getting good sex on a regular basis, either from a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or if you're whatever, or if you're gay, from whatever, if you're getting good sex on a regular basis, you cannot even imagine what I'm going through. I have not had, as far as I'm concerned, I've never had good sex in my life, period. Never had good sex in my life. And we'll just leave it at that. But I have not had sex at all, full-blown, for 6 years, going on. April 6, 2014, it'll be 6 years. Now, that being said, my sex life with Donald was absolutely horrible. And that was 2001 till, you know what I mean? Yeah, the last time I had sex with him, I never cheated on him. The last time I had sex with him was April 6th, 2008. But who cares? Because my sex life with him was horrible, you know? I can't even imagine being with somebody who was giving me the kind of sex I've always ached to have. And as much as I love that musician, my sex life with him wasn't, not that he was not selfish at all like Donald, anything like that, but I wanted to spice things up and he just wasn't interested. I'm the one who ordered the movies from Adam and Eve. I'm the one who tried to get the games or the toys or this or that, whatever it did, he wasn't interested. So suffice to say, I can't even imagine what it would be like to just be with a guy that was hot for me and I was hot for him, and and it wasn't based on just sex, and we cared about each other. It doesn't have to be love, but can't even imagine it. Can't even imagine it. Don't even have any hope of ever experiencing it because I'm all fucked in the head now, but I can't imagine it. But I think about it. It's on my mind all the time. It's on my mind continuously. Because it's that elusive out there, out there where all these people are getting to do all these things that I don't get to do, But I turned it down. Beach guy he was a stud. He was hot. He made me hot. He was hot. I was hot for him. I didn't want just that. I rejected him. I turned him down. I know he wouldn't have been selfish. I know he would have had me experiencing things I've never experienced in my life, but I turned it down because I don't want it. Unless I feel like the guy likes me for more than that. Doesn't have to love me, like I said. I'm not in love with him, but like me for more than that, or I'm not going to be comfortable anyway. That's the thing. If I don't have a degree of trust, if I don't have a feeling that the guy likes me at least a little bit, and I didn't feel that way about Beach Guy. Was he hot for my body? Oh, yeah. Was I hot for his? Oh, yeah. But I have an obscene amount of discipline, and as much as I was imagining doing all kinds of crap with him that he talked about in detail, I said adios. Adios. Sorry. Goodbye. Didn't contact him anymore. Told him I'm not interested. No, I didn't do it mean. I didn't be like, oh, you're a fucking prick. No, I said, because he would not even see me a second time after that I paid him $100 to massage me on the beach. And it was nice. And I think it took me 3 buses to get to the beach. And then it was raining, but it was still enjoyable. It was drizzling, and it was just, we didn't, it still took place. But I didn't like it. And then, I wanted someone, yeah, I'll pay you $100 because I have some money and I could pay for a professional massage. I'll pay you, but I didn't have it like in 20s. It was in some 5s, whatever it is. He goes, I hope it's all here. It's like, sure. But then I did enjoy it with him, except he was getting a little too, there were people over there on the beach, even though it was raining a little bit, and kids, and I'm like, you're just supposed to massage me, you're not supposed to do any, and he kept trying to, I won't elaborate, but, and I didn't want that anyway. I wasn't paying him for that. I didn't even want to be touched up here. I'm not sensitive up there. I wanted my legs and back and neck and all that massage. And if I'm paying him, he should have done what I wanted, not what he wanted. You know what I mean? But he wouldn't agree to a second time seeing me unless I agreed to do sexual things with him ahead of time. I don't want that. I want, like I said, there are plenty of guys who they're not in love with the woman, but they woo her, they try to seduce her. I want to not know if it's going to happen. I want the excitement, the build-up, the seduction, the feeling desired, and not like, this guy, sure, he was hot as hell, but he wasn't even willing to meet with me a second time unless there was a guarantee that, not necessarily that I was going to go all the way with him, but that we were going to do, he wanted to get a hotel, you know what I mean? No, I don't want that. I want the excitement, the build-up, the seduction, I want the not knowing. The not knowing what's going to happen. I don't want it to just be, we're going to agree to go fool around somewhere. You won't even see me. I don't want it. I don't want it. It's not what I want. And in the end, I wouldn't have enjoyed whatever he was going to, the experience he was going to show me anyway. I wouldn't have enjoyed it because if I don't trust him, I have to trust him, Even on the beach, he had my bra. He wasn't even supposed to do that. I didn't want him doing that. I just wanted him to massage me, PG, whatever. But in the end, he had maneuvered my bra and I had to get it back on. And he goes to me, he goes, well, you probably don't even need a bra. And I look at him and I'm like, he was in his 30s too, like some 20-something-year-old. I look at him and I go, yeah, I do. I go, my breast's sag. And he got it taken aback. He's like, what? It's like, because, they look good in a bra, whatnot, And then I had to feel like self-conscious. I'm like, So what would have happened if I had gotten naked with him, had sex with him, you know? I want to be with somebody who I don't, you know, my body's flawed and I'm 45 years old. I don't want you to, you know, just because I look good in clothes or what I was wearing that day with my shorts and what I'm wearing, but you know what I mean? And I told them that, and then I didn't like his reaction. He was like taken aback, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm 45 years old, my body's not perfect, you know. And I didn't like that. So I have to be with a guy that is going to make me feel beautiful regardless, who wants me, desires me, and, you know, and will know how to relax me. That wasn't Beach Guy. Sure, he was hot. I'm sure he would have been fantastic in bed, but only if I was relaxed enough to enjoy it. And if I have to be self-conscious about my body, that's not some 20-year-old hot body with perfect tits and whatnot, you know, then I have a belly, you know what I mean? I didn't want it. And he got tested, not intentionally. He didn't even want him to do what he had done. We're in the daylight in the damn beach at 11 o'clock in the morning, you know. He shouldn't have been doing that. Granted, they were over there. They weren't right beside us because it was a rainy day, and, you know. But there were people over there, and he's like, no one could see, no, because, you know, and it was under my top, of course, so they couldn't see anything, but I didn't like what he was doing. And I hadn't, quote, hired him to do that anyway. I had hired him to give me a nice, public, safe massage. And I had paid him. He should have done what I wanted to do. I shouldn't have had to keep stopping his roaming hands, but he was hot for me, and he couldn't help himself or whatnot. But no, see, it has to, for me, I was in an abusive relationship for too long. It was sexually abusive too. It was Donald, in the end, the last couple so years, just crawling on top of me, and only when he was shit-faced doing his business, not giving me what he'd always given me in the past, although even that was tainted and horrible. I mean, not horrible, it was just... And, you know what I mean? I can't just hop into bed with any guy, even if, like, I was lusting after Beach Guy. We had back and forth emails before we finally met at the beach, and afterwards he was really trying to get me to meet with him, you know, and I don't want to just that. That's not what I want. And I don't want it for my own sake, because I won't enjoy it. I won't be able to relax. I have to be with a guy who really, really wants me in that manner, and is going to make me feel beautiful, flaws and all, you know. That 66-year-old man turned out to be an ass, and I was 50 pounds heavier about than I am now, and he made me feel beautiful. I didn't have sex, but I mean, he made me feel beautiful. There was alcohol was involved, and he saw me. That was not good either, because stupid cars, police, oh my God. If we had gotten caught and I was parked in front of him in a residential area, I can't even imagine the embarrassment, especially those police would have been the ones who they'd seen me walking for years everywhere, and if they had caught me completely without a stitch on, and he was parked in front of a residential area, and it was all lit up, but I was shit-faced, he was shit, and you don't even think, no, it was just dumb. It was dumb. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that he did see me, and he told me, "You're beautiful. You have a beautiful body." And that was this body now is 50 pounds heavier. Well, 1790. Yeah. About that. When I met him, I would start gaining back some of the weight. I was probably 210. So say 45 pounds heavier or whatever, but he thought it was beautiful. He did see my whole body, saggy breasts and all, and he made me feel beautiful, okay? He turned out to be a jerk, but in any case, before he turned out to be a jerk, regardless, he did make me feel beautiful. He made me desirable, and, juxtapose that with Beach Guy, who freaked out almost. He made some snide comment or something. When I said, and I wouldn't have said anything, but I shouldn't even have to. He's not a kid. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to feel defensive over something I can't help, And I'm sure you don't even need a bra. Yeah, I do. Of course, I do need a bra. And my breast sag. He's like, he made some kind of comment. He's like, I forget what he said. And I had to be defensive. I'm like, I'm 45 years old. I'm not some 20-year-old hot body. You want some 20-year-old hot body? I didn't say this and thinking it. Go find them, Anyway, that's my take on things. I don't know. I've been saying it forever. I was saying it in the shelter. I was saying it. And that African-American woman that I was friends with for that year, she was excitement. She was fun. But in the end, I didn't feel like she really liked me for me. We were different, and I felt like she was, and this wasn't me just being sensitive, she was putting down things that other people who were different than her might actually value in me, when I talked about how I can't find a guy who I'm attracted to both physically and mentally, and she'd be like, oh, well, that you won't cheat on anyone, you could have two, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. I don't have those values. I will never do that. I will never cheat on someone I'm with, and I don't want to have two. I want to find the combination. But even that attitude, when ridiculing my purity in that area or whatnot, I didn't like that. But I really didn't like when she's saying stuff like, are you happy the way, do you like being the way you are? I said to her, well, do you like killing yourself with cigarettes? She's like, well, Jesus, I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, well, this is my core personality. What do you want? No, I can't be like you. I admire a lot of things, your confidence of the yin-yang, sexual and otherwise. And I learned from her. I learned from everybody. But in the end, things she said and did and whatnot, and then she wanted me to grovel and beg for her friendship instead of just forgiving me, and it's for my admitted transgressions, which, what were they really? It's not like I fucked her boyfriend or did whatever. It's just texts or emails that said how I felt, that insulted her, but I didn't commit the crime of all crimes when it comes to friendships, and she wanted me to act like I'd been a horrible friend to her, and it's not true. I'd sustained her. I'd offered her money even when she didn't ask me for it. I never made her feel less. I told her you could you don't have to pay me back unless you get in a position where you're working and you have enough money and you can pay me back without it being a hardship to you. I went out of my way, and in the end I felt like she just didn't give a shit. And I wasn't getting sex from her, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to pay. It's not like I'm her sugar mom or something and I'm getting something out of the deal, you know? I enjoyed her friendship. In the end, Joe made a sarcastic comment because all the stuff I paid for her and then taking her on the vacation and whatnot, and it amounted to probably close to 1,000, I don't know. You figure it was over 300, and I reduced that to, and I didn't count any of the times I took her out to eat at the fast food places. So it probably came to close to that, and Joe was like, well, think of it as you paid $1,000 for her friendship. You know, it's $1,000 worth of friendship. She would deny up the yin-yang that she, I mean, if pushed, I'm sure she would, because people deny everything. Oh, I didn't. I wasn't just with her because she was helping me out financially and whatnot. Yeah, well, if I felt otherwise, if I'm wrong, then it's too late anyway, and I don't care, because we were too different in too many areas. Do I miss her? Yeah. But when it comes to anybody, a friend, a lover, you have to like me for me, flaws and all. And if my sensitive nature and the fact that I obsess over things, or I cry too easily, or any of those things, if you can't accept that about me, then be on your merry way. I can guarantee you, I'm sure she has missed me at points too. Because even in the very end, when it was too late, you know, or whatnot, she's like, because it was too late, because 17 emails, which is, you know, saying this, that about me and not accepting my apology and, you know, wanting me to admit that I was been a horrible friend and I didn't feel that way. But then she goes, you know, you have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known, you know. Yeah, so why couldn't you appreciate that and overlook my flaws? You have flaws. You have flaws of the yin-yang, you know. That's the way it goes. I'd rather be alone. As soon as it gets warm, that's my escape, you know. I'm going to start walking those dogs every day. Omar for a gentler walk, and his dog for a run, a power walk. Maybe I'll get down to 150 pounds, I don't know. That's the goal. It certainly wouldn't happen if I eat a pint of ice cream every day, but that's the thing, I'm not going to eat a pint of ice cream every day, you know. I don't need to. Just like I don't need to, like, be in an orgy or something. I just want, you know, what so many people on this, you know, I shouldn't say on this planet, so many on this planet, but, you know, in the world where you're not, you know, trying to survive every day and having bombs go up, whatever, in the United States or in Britain or what, you know, they take for granted, you know. I shouldn't say that because, you know, sadly most people on this planet are just in dire straits and fucked, you know. But I only know my reality of living in this kind of, you know, this reality of that's not the reality of, you know, people starving in Africa or people, you know, dealing with obscene poverty in other countries and bombs and being bombed and all this crap, you know. So I just want a little bit, you know. Just like I don't need to eat that ice cream every day or whatever snacks I wanted it today, you know. And I drank last night, but I didn't drink today, and I have no intention of drinking anytime soon like that by myself, unless I decide to meet a dating website guy for a drink or something, you know what I mean? But even that won't be... I don't need all of that. Like I said, I'm not going to get involved in orgies or anything like that, but I would like to one-on-one experience what I've never experienced in my life. But it has to be right. It has to be with the right guy. And it has to be with a guy who I know really, really wants me and who will make me feel beautiful and desirable, and then I'll be able to relax. Otherwise I won't relax and I won't enjoy myself, and it's pointless. It's pointless. And that is why I said adios to beach guy. He was not giving me any indication that he liked me for more than my looks and body, and I didn't want that, so I was left, believe me, I was imagining doing all kinds of stuff with him. I knew what he looked like ahead of time and vice versa, and he didn't disappoint in person. He was hot. He was hot, but there have been other dating website guys who I didn't get to meet, who were not as hot as him, who I liked. Like I said, I didn't get to meet them because I turned them off ahead of time with my mind. Oh well, you know. Again, it goes back to the same thing. These guys like me and they think I'm hot. But if I can... You're not going to like me. You're not... You might think I'm beautiful or sexy or you want to fuck the shit out of me, but you're not going to like me if I could turn you off that easily. Because believe me, I'm not telling these guys, you know, anybody, my mom's, you know, been schizophrenic since I was 10 and I was abused and I was, no, they got turned off by the smallest of things, the mere hint of things. So if you're going to get turned off by the smallest of things, the mere hint of things, you're never, ever, ever going to like the real me. You're never gonna, so go away. You know, not interested. No matter how big no matter how hot I am for you, no matter how much you can talk about how good you are and how good you'll be in detail and what, no. But I turned them off. I mean, most of those guys were not as hot as Beach Guy, or even of that other guy who in his car. Those two were really, they were in their 30s and they were both hot equally. I wanted to see the one in the car again. Of course I did. He sucked on my feet and my toes and licked my feet, and no one had ever done that to me in my life. I'd like to experience that again. But I'm not going to decide who I'm going to finally end my 6 years of, or might not be more by the time it happens, celibacy. Self-chosen, because I've had offers. That guy, he wound up, he didn't want to see me again. I never heard from him again. I wanted to see him again. I had really enjoyed that more than, no one had ever done that to me before. But again, most guys won't do that, and I wouldn't choose who I'm gonna, you know, based on that. Oh, well, you won't suck on my toes and my feet, so I have no interest in you now. Because there's all sorts of other things, you know. But I'm going to know based on back and forth conversations, phone, email, whatever, if it winds up being, I mean, or even meeting in person, and I'm not just going to hop into bed with any guy, and I'm going to know that he's not going to be an asshole. I'm going to have a guarantee of that, because based on what he says to me and whatnot, I'll know. well, no, like I said, I want seduction. I want the chase. I want to not know if something's going to happen. You're not just going to, the beach guy thought he could snap his fingers and I would jump into bed with him just because I was lusting after him. And vice versa. But no, because I don't want that. And I've gone so long. I mean, I have obscene discipline now. Just don't. It has to be right. It has to be right, or it's just not going to happen. Well, my mother was crying too because she wanted to be normal. She's like, I asked them, Laura, they're not gonna let me. They want me. They wanted me forever. I tried, Laura. I can't fight it. You want me dead, Laura? You gotta help me, please. Light of the world, shine on me. Love is the end. Shine on us all, set us free. Love is the end. Who knows why? Homeless boys and girls. I believe that talks about ask the man in your heart, you know what I mean? So that song is Christian and talking about how you have to have Jesus in your heart. You're going, the underlying thing, you're going to go to hell. So I don't like that, but I like that song, and I've liked that song. And I wasn't going to leave when I was going to be spending 6 hours there and back traveling. Although in the end, it was pointless because there was no talking between me and my mom. There was her just ranting and raving, and then if anyone came near her, go away, I'm here with my daughter, and you, I told you, see, Laura, you gotta yell at them, Laura, you gotta yell, yeah, yell at these patients, I'll be out of there in 2 seconds, and they'll throw me out, and I'll never be able to come back. Poor woman who got the water. I try to, you can't reason with my mom, of course, in that state of mind, but I'm like, Mom, she has a right, she's here too, she has a right to have that water. No, I found that water, I didn't know that, nobody told me, Laura, nobody told me where the water was, and I found it, and now she's gonna drink too, and now there won't be any, and I'm thirsty, and the God's sake, they're telling me I'm thirsty, they won't, I'm thirsty all the time. Then they tell me I have to go to the bathroom all the time. Please help me, Laura. I'm going to be dead, Laura. And I said something about, there's going to be that meeting with her social worker, and I'm not going to make it till then. Laura, you don't know what happened last night. Well, I know Mary called you in the afternoon and abused you, and I know you were crying on the phone with me, and you had to hang up because you couldn't stand it. But apparently bad things happen. They won't let me sleep, Laura, and they're drugging me up too much, and I have to get out of here. I'm going to go insane, Laura. I'm going to go insane, please. Do you want to see her, Laura? Me go insane? No, Mom. There's nothing that I can do. This is killing me, but I can't. If I let you take me down with you, what's the point? How do I keep loving her and talking to her on the phone and still maintain my own, I don't know, my own sanity, my own not slip into despair, I don't know. But part of it is, of course, always this that I've been doing for years. Part of me keeping my, my sanity, not slipping into total despair. And once it gets warm out, part of it will just be blasting my music, my alternative rock and classic rock, whatever, in my ears and walking in the warmth. And once it gets really warm, I'll be wearing the little shorts and little tops, and that makes me happy. Looking good makes me happy. Wearing as little as possible in the sun and the warmth makes me happy. But I'm not going to cut myself off from my mom. If someone does it to me, there'll be nothing that I can do. I'm not going to cut myself off. In fact, I have to start calling her every night so I can know what's going on, so I can get some kind of heads up. Because believe me, she'll get hints. She'll know if she's going to be committed. If there's a meeting, and I have to know before it happens. You know what I mean? I have to call her every night, but I don't have to talk for an hour and 40 or half hour, whatever. But I'm going to call her every night. So I can know if Marion's called and abused her again. I can know if she's going to be committed. I can know if there's a meeting and how it went. If she tells me. I mean, I don't want to upset her. I'm not going to push it, But so I have to find some way to deal with this. Even if I go out on a date or something, do you think it's not going to be in the back of my mind at all times? If my mom, even if if she gets committed, or if she's still in there or whatnot, my mom's locked up in a mental hospital, my mom might get committed. You think that's not going to be going through my head at all times? It's going to be so how do I deal with it? I don't know. You think I have the answers? I have no answers to anything. 15 years old, I wrote, "Tell me it'll be okay." I don't have the answers to anything, though I wish I did. I wish I could open up my soul inside and give everything I have to give. Because the world needs a little help right now. It's not doing very good. And maybe I could help somehow if somebody only would. Tell me it'll be okay. Tell me things are gonna change. Because I'm so afraid. And I wonder if anybody I know ever feels the pain will never go. And I wonder if it's really true. Tell me why I do the crazy things that I do. Writing something like that and being periodically psychologically abused by my father, who just treated me like shit. And it didn't matter, I wasn't fucking around. Didn't matter if I got all A's and B's in school. Didn't matter that I wasn't doing drugs like my best friend down the street, Mary, was doing. No. I couldn't remember. I'd been raised to not be like so couth and whatever, and I couldn't remember to do chores on my own. If he told me to do it, I'd do anything he told me to do, of course, but he wanted me to remember or to not leave a face cloth accidentally on the floor, to not forget to change the toilet paper roll or things like that, and I hated myself, and I only had that one friend, and I didn't, this was, when I was in 9th and 10th, and I had really bad acne, and I didn't know how to talk to people, and I was caught up in my own pain of my mom and losing her, and things my dad would say to me, nobody wants you, I don't want you, your family doesn't want you, your mother's crazy, I'm going to ship you back to your crazy mother, and, it's hard when you hate yourself to remember always to be perfect when it comes to chores and stuff, you know. You're caught up in your own head. It's hard for kids anyway who are not being abused to start high school and whatnot and deal with all that shit. And I couldn't remember. The interesting thing was, when I finally was perfect, we had moved to Florida, Palm Beach Gardens. When I finally was perfect enough to always remember to never make a mistake, I trained myself, I guess, in the back of my mind so my dad wouldn't hate me anymore. But he wound up hating me for other things. He hated me, or he put me down and hurt me over my lack of friends when we moved to a new school and I couldn't make friends. So I had finally learned how to be perfect enough to please him, but he found other things to hurt me over, you know, that had nothing to do with me forgetting to do chores or not being perfect, like leaving a dish in the sink or anything you could think of, you know. So then you start thinking, what the fuck? I'm finally being I finally, after a couple of years, I learned how to never do anything wrong. So now you're going to get on my case about me not being not having friends, not... Sad. Oh, and then to top off everything, remember, he was ridiculing my lack of friends when we moved away from my best friend that I had in 9th and 10th, and moved from Massachusetts to Florida, and I couldn't make friends. So I didn't have boyfriends, of course, but I didn't even have friends, and I was home every weekend, and of course, so I had to deal with my father knowing that I was a total fucking loser. And then he had a night job, and he went out one night. There was no way in hell he was supposed to come home. No way in hell. Why would he have ever come home? He was out working. We had the sliding glass doors that were wide open. I won't elaborate, but he caught me, and more embarrassment, you know. You have this man who knows you're a total loser, who ridicules your lack of friends, who he's always there knowing that you don't have friends and you don't have boyfriends, and then he comes home one night when you're watching a movie. I was watching Porky's or something, I don't know. He wasn't supposed to come home. I was in the downstairs living room, doesn't matter. I'm not going to elaborate, I'm just going to say that it was, you just added, you know, you added on to everything. But shit like that happens. My aunt, who's dead now, and her husband peeked through the window, and my cousin was having, when she was 16, was having actual sex with her boyfriend. So she got caught doing that, and that was humiliating and embarrassing, you know. So, but she had a loving, loving parents. It's a little different when you have, you know, you're dealing with a parent who doesn't like you, or you don't feel like likes you. Because they're just there all the time, and you know, they know you're a total loser. dreaming of chasing chickens somewhere. I don't know if you can hear that over there, but that's Omar dreaming. Animals dream just like we do. We just can't, they can't tell us what they dream about. Maybe he's dreaming of chasing a giant chicken. I don't know. Who knows? There's no way we'll ever know. My mom says this was not yesterday, she was, Saturday. So yesterday, yeah, I'm real frightened. Very, very frightened that she's going to be transferred somewhere else. She can't be behaving violently towards the other patients. She'll be moved somewhere else, and I won't get to know. This is reality. I told that staff member, because of course she's like, oh, it'll be okay, don't worry, but I'm sure your mom will, it'll work itself out. I said, no, you don't. I said, no. This is not everything will be okay. This is my reality. My mother can get committed, and I will not know where she is. I'm shit in the eyes of the law. I told her. Did other patients hear me? Oh, yeah. I'm sure they did. I don't care. They might not have heard that because she was letting me out, but then she opened the door because I wanted to say something else. I'm trying to get her to understand that, yeah, I'm visiting my mom, but, my mom gets moved, I won't know where she is. And if she's totally out of it, she won't even remember. This was chance that she wasn't totally out of it when she first got there. She was enough to call her friend from the patient phone, and I happen to have that friend's number, and I called her, and she just happened to have saved the number. She didn't even know what it was. She's like, I think this is your mom's number. I don't know where she's calling from, but whatever. I tried it. I reached her. The rest is history. I'm not shut out, but that doesn't mean I can't. Remember, Marion's goal is to completely separate me from my mother. My mother will tell you that when she's in a right frame of mind. When she's not in a right frame of mind, the gods are working through Marion. But she still knows, Mom still knows that the goal is to separate me from my mother, period. It's not rocket science. Not rocket science so far. Schizophrenia is a really bad mental illness. I believe I read before it's one of the worst because you're tormented. Watching her yesterday, I cried. I sat there and I cried my eyes out, but I stayed. I kept looking at my watch, wanting it to be over, but I stayed the entire time that I had planned to stay. I stayed. It was hell. I wonder why I wound up drinking. But the only reason I wound up drinking was just chance, because I missed the bus wasn't running right, and for whatever, there was traffic going on. I missed my train. I took the next train, and that was that. I had hours to kill, and I just decided I wanted to drink. Otherwise I wouldn't have. It's just one of those fluke things, 20 years ago, give or take. And this was obese Flora. This is a bad angle because I was not this heavy. I can show you other pictures when I weighed a little bit less than the 232. Here was probably 2. or something like that, probably 20 pounds less or something. This is a bad angle of this picture because I look really obese in it. Really obese in that picture, but I wasn't that obese. Show other pictures. I didn't even look that obese in pictures I have of me at my heaviest, 232 pounds. So, just I look really heavy in this picture. Yeah, that's a bad angle picture. I don't know. Look at that. I'm like, wow, I know I wasn't that heavy. Weird angled picture. I look like I weigh like 400 pounds. I don't know what the deal is with that. He's not making those noises anymore. Those noises when he's dreaming. I don't know. Do they have nightmares too? Maybe a giant chicken was chasing him. And they cry out like that. I don't know. Tomorrow I'll call Cheryl, tell her, you know, I have a feeling that you won't even be meeting with my mom. I have a feeling that I have a bad feeling based on what happened yesterday. Especially since she's being belligerent with the staff and with the other patients. They're not going to keep her in there. I'm telling you, I'm smart. Feasibly be cut off from knowing anything.